What's up, weirdos?
Hey, yo.
Me? Shit. I got me a little something rolled. The lights are low, and we're about to chop it up with Abigail on the Manic Pixie Weirdo podcast.
Okay.
A safe space for weirdos of all shapes, sizes, colors, and creeds to relax and speak their piece.
Speak that piece.
So grab your glass of wine and grass the chief as I get off the mic so the main weirdo can speak. Peace.
Peace, God.
What is up, weirdos? You're listening to the Manic Pixie Weirdo. I'm Abigail, your host, and this is the podcast where we talk about all the different kinds of relationships that we can have in our life. We're back. Yay. It's really exciting. I'm really glad to be back. So we're back. And we are going to be talking about body image this week. So before we start, I kind of wanted to give like a disclaimer, just protect yourself. We're going to be talking about some rough stuff, some stuff that might be triggering. So just, be aware and protect yourself and take care of yourself. So I just wanted to say that up top because it is kind of a heavier subject. So we're talking about body image, and it's like I said, rough stuff. At least for me, it's been kind of rough. First, I'd like to say hi. I'm Abigail, and I have body dysmorphia. So it's fun. So for those of you that don't know, body dysmorphia is the distortion of your own body image. So it just basically what that means is just that you don't see what other people see when you look at yourself in the mirror. Mine is so bad that I have been told that I probably will never be able to see what other people see when they look at me. Physically, it's specific to physical attributes and things like that. Because it started when I was so young that it altered my brain chemistry. So I will probably not ever be able to sort of trust my own eyes when I look at myself in the mirror. I mean, that's tough, that's tough. That sucks. It's one of those things that I'm learning to come to terms with. It's not something that I talk about very often because it's kind of super sensitive for me. But it is a part of your body image. And I think the destruction of that, for me, mine I know started very young. It was, and it wasn't one thing. I couldn't blame necessarily one thing. What I mean by that is I feel like a lot of people want to blame outside influences, which obviously huge influence in just a developing child's life. And I feel but I don't know, I don't feel like that covers everything, if that makes sense. I guess it all depends on external forces that like affect the child's development, especially when it comes to something like self-image or body image. Like they're all kind of like external factors, because that's how we learn like how to be like a part of society, is like through external factors. Um and so like I guess they're all kind of external in a sense. But I guess what I'm referring to specifically is like it's not just Hollywood's fucking fault that like my brain is fucked, you know? Like I like that's a little bit too simple for me as far as like the answer to like why my brain is fucked when it comes to my body image, because I don't think that it was just specifically like Hollywood's fault or the media. Like those things were obviously huge influences, yes. Um being external factors to a developing child, but I don't think that they are like the sole reason that my body image just fucked. I think that it started at a very, very, very young age for me. Um and and I from what I remember, like it started at a very young age. And um but I also but like it's not just, you know, um these external factors like Hollywood or um the fact that I chose to do an activity where there's a specific body type that um was like perpetuated, that you like had to be thin or whatever um in order to like be a part of said activity. um but okay, so like my parents, um not the best example for like having a healthy relationship with your body or like having a healthy relationship with food. Neither one of my parents really had good relationships with either. And so, and I'm not blaming them. It's not like, it's all their fault or anything like that. Like that's not what I mean. Like it's just that, looking back on it, it's like, yeah, no, my parents don't really have like that great of a relationship with food or with their own body image. And that translated like onto their children. Um, because I remember like my parents were constantly on some sort of diet. Like it feels like they were a constant, just like we tried everything, you guys, like all the different, oh God, you name it. And don't get me started on like when we did Atkins. Oh God. Because basically, like how it went down in my house was that like if my parents were doing it, because like they would do it together as like a thing, like because they say like dieting is easier when you like have somebody or whatever like to do it with you. So like they would do it together, but then like, but really the whole house had to like eat with them. So there was no, that sort of situation. So like if my parents were on Atkins, then like we were all fucking eating Atkins or whatever because that's the food that was in the house. Um and oh my God, I remember Jesus. So just bad. Just it was not good, you guys. This was back in the day when those like Atkins meals and like Atkins protein bars and like all that kind of stuff was like really, I don't know, maybe I haven't really kept up with it, but like I don't know, maybe it's still like a part of Atkins or whatever, but like back in the day, like it was just when like the like dinners were coming out and like all the cookbooks and the like noodles and the tortillas and the like low carb, protein bars and like all the stuff. And not good. Didn't taste. It was not good. You guys, it was so bad. Oh my goodness. I remember we had like a tortilla and they were the low carb tortillas and they tasted like fucking soap. It was not good. Um couldn't do it. Couldn't eat it. Not mm-mm. No, thank you. It was so bad. I think the part about that story that I'm leaving out that like I'm laughing about is that I told my sister that if she would eat it for me, that I would like give her something in return or whatever. And so she did. And then I was like, don't tell mom and dad, don't tell mom. And she, of course, told mom and dad. And then I got in trouble because I was the one that was like supposed to eat it or whatever. But it was not good, you guys. It was so not good. And you couldn't like, I don't know. It was not good. um, but yeah, so I mean, like, and I think like all of those, like, sort of like all of these factors, like went together. Not to mention, it didn't help that like I lost all my baby fat like really, really late. Like comparatively, like I remember that being sort of like a thing. Like I didn't lose all of my baby weight, like my baby fat until um pretty late, like seventh or eighth, like eighth grade, in between like maybe like seventh grade. I don't think so, but like it was late, you guys, and that really like destroy. And then kids are just terrible. Kids are just fucking awful about like weight and body image and like it's a whole thing. You guys, everybody knows. Everybody's been there. Like everybody's got a story about how they were teased because of their weight or the way that they looked or whatever. And I mean, oh my gosh. So I think it's like a compile, like, I don't know. I don't know. I feel like I'm not making sense, but I'm just trying to, like, I guess, understand even for myself, like, where all of these sort of like roots of this body dysmorphia that I have, um, like, comes from because I like when I specifically have to talk about body image, like I don't necessarily feel like super comfortable talking about body image for the big reason that like I can't trust my own eyes when I look at myself in the mirror. It doesn't matter. Like it does not matter what is being said to me. I will not be able to ever see that. Whatever it is that you see when you look at me, if you ever see me, I just know that I will never be able to see that, like that physical person. Um I will always see something drastically different. And I think that that's really like one of the most difficult parts of having body dysmorphia is that like not only are you sort of an unreliable narrator for your present self as far as like what you look like when you look in the mirror, but also knowing that like you now have to take that leap of faith and just trust what other people say about the way that you look. Um, and you have to trust that they're telling you the truth. And that's really difficult. That's really, really hard. That's that's a level of trust that I aspire to get to. Um, with a lot of people. And by a lot, I mean more than like one. Now, why would I need more than one? I don't know. I honestly, I haven't thought that far because I've got one person. I know I've got at least one person in my corner that I trust to tell me the truth. Um, that person is my husband. I trust him very much to tell me if something looks good or something looks bad. Um, Maybe because he does it a lot, like he does it all the time, and it's kind of nice because I always know when I look ridiculous or when I look like a fool. Because I can't trust myself. I don't and I see, and this is one of the things that like. So when you have body dysmorphia, you not only can you not see or trust yourself, and you have to trust other people, but eventually you get to a place where you just sort of like accept the fact that like you don't know if you're ever like you will never know if you look good. Like so you kind of have to start to just trust like how you feel in like the clothes that you wear, in the skin that you are in, like at present. You kind of have to just trust like those feelings. Um, Now my problem is that those feelings tend to lean on the like comfort side. So I'm usually rocking like sweatpants or something. And that's not always like the best look when you're going out in public. And it's, I don't know. And so, but like, bring it back to my husband, which is the whole point, is that like like I can trust him to be like, you look ridiculous. Like, what are you doing? Because this is the weird thing, though. This is the weird thing. So like, I don't know what really looks good on my body. Like, I don't really have a sense of that. Um, I just don't. I never really had because I'm not like spatially aware of my body very much. Like I just sort of, if that makes sense. Like I don't see like the shape. Like I can't see it. Like it's not. I don't know. Um, and so I don't because I don't know any of that. Like, and I don't really see any of that. It's really difficult for me to like find things that like I not only like feel good in, but that I trust that like other people say that like it looks good on me. Um, and so I don't really know what looks good on me, like clothing wise or anything like that. But funnily enough, I was able to find somebody who, for whatever reason, is better at dressing me than I am dressing myself. Um, I've never not once gotten a compliment on the way that I dress if my husband dresses me. Like if my husband tells me what to wear and he's like, wear this with this and then like these shoes or whatever, like I get more compliments on what I'm wearing that day than I would if I had dressed myself. Because I don't know, you guys. I don't know. I don't know what looks good on me. I don't see it. I just don't like, and then things that like I think look good on me turn out to like not look that great. And I don't know. And so like that's another sort of like little trip up thing about your body image is that like if you have all of these things like you kind of have to like this is where the trust part comes in. And trust is like a huge thing for me as far as obviously it's a big deal for everybody. The trust part of like so like having faith and then like the trust part of that having faith is real difficult for me to do. Like takes a while. And I don't know um I couldn't explain to you like why I specifically trust what my husband's. I don't know. I guess it's because I have empirical data to back it up. And that empirical data it includes, but is not limited to, the fact that I get a lot of compliments on what I wear or what I look like when my husband gives his input than when I don't. And that sort of like has helped with like that being able to trust him on what, you know, what I look like. And and it's been able to give me the room to be able to kind of explore like my own body image, and realizing that like because I can't trust my eyes, I might as well just kind of, I don't want to say like ignore it, but just kind of like remove it from the options of like valid or reliable like tools or resources um that I have to sort of cope with the fact, to be able to cope with this, like with my own body image and my own self, like worth that is attached to my body image to a certain extent. Um, and that room and that space, um, that I've been allowed, has opened up the possibility that like now I have to trust my fucking feelings, you guys. Oh boy. Trusting feelings is like trying to trust like the ocean. It's so unpredictable. It's not even like, it's so unpredictable. Um and I guess it's something that like I'm working on, but like there's also a part of me that's like, how much time and energy am I really willing to dedicate to something that I know is probably never going to change? So I have to sort of figure out like long-term strategies of like how to cope with this thing that um is gonna be around for at least the foreseeable future in my life. And being able to trust the way that I feel when I wear something. So like if I feel good when I put something on, like that's the goal, right? Like that's the whole point about like positive body image. Oh my gosh, I can't talk. But positive body image, like that's the whole like point of it, is to be able to like feel good, feel confident, feel sexy, whatever. Feel all those positive, like loving things towards yourself, right? The problem is my sort of issue with that though is that like feelings aren't facts. And I have trouble with that. I have like a real constant struggle with that. Um so like how do you trust them because they aren't facts? Because like I trust facts, like I understand facts. Facts make sense to me in my brain. Um but feelings are more like opinions in the sense that like they ebb and they flow and they are ever changing. And so just because, and what I mean by that is like, so just because like I feel confident and sexy and good about myself at this moment in this outfit does not mean by any stretch of the imagination that that is going to continue to be the case. And that's like really scary. That's really scary. So that's one of the reasons why it's like really difficult for me to trust, because like getting over that fear is like really hard for me. And it it's just like a real struggle. As far as like that is concerned. And I don't think any of these things are like isolated to me. Like there's no way that I'm the only person that like struggles with their body image or has struggled with their body image or has body dysmorphia or, you know, whatever. Like I by no means am alone in these feelings and in these thoughts. It's just sort of, this is what I have found, if that makes sense. Sort of on this journey um, with myself. So, yeah, so we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back. What is up, you guys? I wanted to talk to you a little bit about our sponsor for this episode, Newsly. It's an audio app for iOS and Android where they basically take articles from all over the world and all the trending topics that are on the web at any given moment, and it reads them to you in like a natural voice, like a human being would. It's basically the first time in the history of the internet where the entire web becomes listenable. It's really cool, you guys. They have all different kinds of articles from all different kinds of topics so that you can like stop scrolling and start listening, which I really love. You can follow all the, any topic, all the topics, whatever topic you want to talk about or listen about, from sports, science, Bitcoin, even the Kardashians, like everybody. They have all the latest articles and it reads them to you. So it's super easy. They also have podcasts, which is why I'm talking to you guys about it, because our podcast, along with podcasts from over 50 other countries, are on the app. So that's really, really cool. You can start listening there as well. You can download and use Newsly for free right now at www.newsly.me, or you can use this link in the description. And when you use the promo code P1X1EP0DCAST, that will give you a free month of premium subscription to Newsly. So go check it out, you guys. And thank you so much to Newsly for sponsoring this episode. And we're back, and we're talking about body image and my relationship with body image. I think that body image is something that is like unique to each individual person, like how you view your own body, and that's a very like private and like intimate thing that like is very personal. And then I think that there are like things like external factors that influence how like everyone kind of views their bodies, because we put things like, we want to categorize things and we want to make things simple as human beings. And I think that, part of that is trying to do things like define beauty, or define like body positivity, or like defining anything. And I think that's really difficult when you try to like slap a mass label on it, because, and like you get like, it almost gets to a point where it's like too general, like you're being too general, because by being too general, you're also like being exclusive. Sorry, that sounded like really weird. I don't know if that made sense, but so like what I mean is like with the media, right? With like Hollywood specifically. Oh my gosh. And the fashion industry, and just like the pressure that is put on people to like look a certain way. And I mean, even now, like, it hasn't really gone away, and I don't know if it ever really will. like if those pressures to like look a certain way, and like, and beauty standards like change and stuff like that, and it's like I don't know, it's just like I wish we would stop sort of like trying to define these like arbitrary things like that sometimes, because you're really getting into the weeds with it, and it it gets real difficult when you start getting like nitpicky about it. And because it's like, especially like I'm just like, I'm a woman, so I'm just gonna speak from like my perspective. um but it's like, you know like you don't want to be overly thin, but like you don't want to be like overly like overweight. You want to be like somewhere in the happy middle or whatever. You want to be like physically fit, but you don't want to be like too much, but you don't want to be like not enough. You know what I'm saying? Like that sort of like language, like that kind of like thing where it's like you got to be like you're trying to play this like happy medium or whatever. And it's like that doesn't take into it, that doesn't, it just doesn't take into account like a lot of things, like a lot of things. And, you know, and it's not easier for men, by the way. Like, I know so many people that are men or that identify as being a man, and their body image is like shit too. Like because of these ridiculous standards that we have on men. I saw an interview um one time with Channing Tatum, and he was talking about like he was on some talk show, um and he was talking about like Magic Mike or whatever, and how like he would never want to do that again, kind of a thing, because it's just impossible to maintain. Like it's just utterly like that. Just it's not realistic, like by any stretch of the imagination. And I thought that was like pretty cool of him to to at least come out and be like, yeah, no, don't even try, because it's impossible. It's dumb. Like don't do that to yourself. Like that's good. It's just like there was a part of me that was like a little bit, I guess, shocked. Um Not shocked in like, oh my god, I had no idea. Like not that. Like more shocked in the sense that like he was allowed to say that. Um and somebody didn't like come out and like tranquilize him or something. I don't know. My imagination just kind of runs free sometimes. But I don't know. Like, I feel like it sucks for both men and women. Like, the body image stuff, especially, is like you're bombarded with all these ridiculous messages that are conflicting. And then the most frustrating part is that then it's like, yeah, but the only reason that you're telling me all this shit is so that I can buy something else, so that it could, because it could supposedly like fill that void inside. Um, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's all just to like sell you shit. And to be quite frank, I don't need any more shit. I've got so much stuff. I don't like need any more stuff. If that makes like stuff and things, I'm good on like tangible physical stuff and things. I'm good. I'm trying to get rid of most of my stuff and things. So I don't want to buy whatever bullshit. That's the other thing, is it's just so exhausting. Like trying to keep up with all this shit is like it's utterly exhausting. And I don't know, I guess as you get older, you begin to care less about stuff. And there are some things that I just like don't have the energy in me to like care about anymore, if that makes sense. And one of those things is like keeping up with all the latest like diet trends or whatever. Like, I can't do it. It's not good for my mental health. It really, really, really triggers like my eating disorder. Like, it's not good. Um, and yet it's kind of impossible to like get away from, which is really tough, because it's like you're just constantly bombarded with all of this messaging and all of these like things. And that's what I mean by like, I don't know if it's actually getting better. I think it's just sort of like morphing and changing with the times. But I don't know if it's actually getting any better as far as like the shoving it down your throat part. Um, and I don't know if that ever will like get better or if you just kind of learn to ignore it. Um, I guess only time will tell with that one. I just, so thin is back in, apparently, from what I've gathered on the remote corners of the internet, specifically like TikTok. Thin is apparently back in, which is terrifying because there is, at bare minimum, at least one generation of people that suffered at the hands of like the thin is in sort of like slogan. Um, and I feel like repeating that cycle, especially so quickly, is very dangerous. And makes me incredibly nervous for the younger generations. I hope they don't get like super caught up into it. I hope that they reject it. I hope they do. I hope that they reject it. I hope that they say no. We have already made progress to be like body inclusive and body positive. We're not going to regress back. Um, because we've learned. Like, that is the hope, right? Obviously, I feel like you're always going to have this sort of certain segment of the population, at least for the time being, that is going to fall victim to, um, certain messaging. And I think all that can be done for that is to treat it with love and kindness and understanding and compassion. And because that's what I needed. Um, I have gone back and forth um, about whether or not I actually sort of gained anything from going to a residential treatment facility. Um, as far like specifically as it pertains to like my body image or my self-worth or like, that is concerned. And I've gone back and forth on like whether or not it was actually sort of like worth it in that aspect. Like I was trying to find like one aspect where I felt like I actually got something out of it. Um, and I don't know, because the approach that was taken was, although like loving and compassionate. Well, okay, I wouldn't necessarily say loving and compassionate. I would say that I don't know what I would say, to be honest, because I don't really remember like feeling safe enough, I guess, in that environment. Part of that could have been had to do with the fact that like I maybe wasn't ready. I don't know. I just know that like I have specific memories of like things that like we did or like activities that we did. And they're generally memories that are like positive of like things that like actually helped. Like in those certain situations. But like outside of those certain situations, I haven't really found like a use for them. And so it's sort of like, I guess I'm just on the fence about it, on whether or not it like actually like did anything, I guess. But I do think that part of why it's possible that like I didn't get what I should have out of it, out of treatment, for specifically like my body image, was because I wasn't ready. I wasn't really that open to it. Um, I I don't know. I just was like, I think at that point I was just more relieved that from of like where I was, like physically where I was, and like location wise, that I didn't really care anymore about like solutions to possible things that could be wrong with me, if that makes sense. Um, and so, yeah, so I like, if I didn't get anything out of it, then there is a possibility that there's a reason for why I didn't get anything out of it. And my part in that is, what I just said. So, um, because I know that there were people that like went to treatment with me that like got got a lot out of it, obviously, like apparently. Um, but I don't know, like it gives me so much anxiety because they would tell us things um, like meditate on like oh my gosh. I First of all, I just can't meditate. I just can't do it. Like it gives me so much anxiety to meditate. And I know, I understand. I'm probably doing it wrong. Like it's fine. But I cannot listen to the sound of my own breathing without like throwing myself into a panic attack. It gives me so much anxiety. I cannot express how much anxiety it gives me. And so I just like can't do it. And so like it doesn't work. Like not for me. Like that's not an avenue that's like applicable and like works for me. And I guess another reason why I didn't really get a lot out of it was because I felt like I wasn't really being heard, when I would say things like that doesn't work for me. Um, and here's why. Like I would just get hit up against a wall of like, well, you're not trying. You're not actually participating. You're not actually like doing what you're supposed to be doing or whatever. And it's like, well, I'm not participating because I'm not going to sit here and throw myself into a panic attack in front of everybody. Like that's stupid, especially if I like it seems dumb to me because especially if I know what the end result of like the action is going to be, and then I do it anyway. That's like doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. Like at some point it becomes a choice. You know what I'm saying? And so like for me, you know what I'm saying? And so it's like that line of thinking just doesn't make a lot of sense to me as far as like why would I do something that I know is not going to help even though you're sitting here telling me that it's supposed to help. And I'm going to tell you that it's not going to help me and you're not going to listen. So then I might as well not like it's I'm just stubborn, I guess, and I just like get to a place where I just like it can't, like, I can't deal with it. And so, I mean, there are probably a lot of reasons why treatment didn't really work out for me. But, you know, there were some positive things that, like, I got out of it. Like, I definitely, um, well, I was going to say that I have a better relationship with food now because I went to treatment. That is untrue. That is false. That is absolutely false. I don't have a better relationship with food um, now than I did then because of treatment. I have a better relationship with food now than because of treatment because I've worked on it with, like, you know, people. um Mainly myself. And, like, we've struggled and, like, worked on that together, but it's not, there were things that I learned, like, sort of beginning tools that I've learned, um, or that I learned in treatment. That sort of, so it's like, okay, so I've been recently playing a lot of Animal Crossing, and in the game, uh, you start and you make, like, they have, like, the flimsy axe that you make. So you make, like, the flimsy axe, but then in order, and so, like, once you make the flimsy axe, then you can make, like, the stone axe or the, like, there's another axe that you can make, but you have to have, like, the flimsy axe first in order to make these other, like, types of axes in the game. And I kind of look at it like that, where it's like I was given sort of like the flimsy axe of, or like the flimsy fishing rod of, like, tools. I was given the flimsy version of tools when I was in treatment uh, to sort of, like, help and limp it along until I could make, like, the better, like, more stable, sturdy version of those things, or of that thing, if that makes sense. I'm equating things to video games now. Oh my gosh. I'm so sorry. I hope it made sense. I feel like it didn't make sense, but I hope it made sense. Um, yeah. So, um, yeah, I think I'm equating things to video games now. I think it's time for me to go. So, sorry. I love you guys. Thank you guys so much for listening. I really appreciate it. We're back to our regularly scheduled program. So I hope you enjoy that. Thank you guys so much for listening. I really, really, really appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you had a couple of laughs, either at my expense or with me. But don't forget, we have a merch store now. There's going to be a new code that I will announce when this episode comes out for free shipping on all merchandise items. So you can go check that out. We have 3 designs, more to come, but right now we just have the 3 designs. So check those out. I hope you like them. You can always tweet at me if you don't like them at MPWeirdo Podcast. You can email me at manapixieweirdo@protonmail.com, or you can Instagram or TikTok me at _main_weirdo1. Thank you guys again so much for listening. I really appreciate it. As always, guys, be kind and stay weird. Have a good one. Bye.